Hey sunshines, today we are talking all about menstrual, periods, pain, and how to go about it, how I go about it, and the products that are out there that I believe are safer and a better option than the cheaper stuff that you would normally find at your drugstore like CVS, Dream Read, and all those other ones that don't always sell the best option and the healthier option, in my opinion. If you happen to be the 2% male audience that I have watching my channel, just to let you know, we will be talking about periods and blood and how to catch it on a pad. But I do think it'll be beneficial for you guys if you are a guy watching, because you can share this information with your sister or your mother or your girlfriend who will potentially in the future have your baby, and then you may care. So let's get right into it. And I'm drinking kombucha, by the way. I know someone's gonna ask. This is a really good one. This is a mango passion fruit, which is my favorite fruit ever. Yeah, it's good. So this could easily be a really long video because this topic is so broad and there's so much that I want to say about this, but I'm gonna keep it simple and just start off with this first video, see how it goes, and if it goes well, if you guys are still interested in more, I will make a separate video on other topics surrounding menstrual cycles. I am not a doctor or professional in any way. I'm just sharing my experience. And this is the first time I'm ever talking about such a serious, not serious, I wouldn't say serious, such a personal topic like this. But I do want to share this very important information with you guys. So if I speak weirdly about periods and blood, it's because I'm not used to talking about this on camera, okay? I'm gonna keep this into two topics of the products I use during my time of the month, which ones I like, which ones I don't, and lastly, some of the things that I do and avoid to prevent and help my cramps if I have any. So here we go. So a few years ago, I switched over to organic cotton pads and tampons because as I found out about all the toxins and preservatives and pesticides and toxic chemicals that are in our food and products, it just made complete sense to also switch over to something that us women use every single month. I wish I would have known this in my teens when I first started to get my period, but I did not know this. I only found out after becoming a mom. And as I became a mom, I want to make this story a short one. My son was diagnosed with autism, and as I found out that a lot of the things that he was dealing with internally came from me, from the high toxicity that I have in my body, which a child living inside of me and, developing inside of me is also going to develop some of these problems as well. But that is not the only cause, of course. It's just a portion of it. But yeah, my son is a mimic of me. So by that point, it was really important for me to take a different route in my lifestyle, and changing my menstrual products was one of them, because in the future, I do want to have another baby. I do want to be more healthy myself, and I don't want to develop any more problems, whether I am having another baby or not. And with that being said, infertility is one of the things that are linked to these menstrual products that are filled with toxic chemicals, fragrances that shouldn't be there, preservatives, pesticides that are sprayed onto the cotton. There's BPA in there. And guess what? All of that down there, it's tissue and muscle. And what that does is it absorbs all of that stuff inside of us, and it sits in there and it damages our insides little by little, along with the things that we internally eat, along with the products that we put on our skin that's also absorbing into our system. In my opinion, the tampons and pads are super duper important, because that's something that's entering us. That's something that's going inside of us all of the time. You may not care about having a baby right now, but in the future, when you decide that you want to have a child, this is something that can contribute to that. So that's why I think it's really important. And I have put all my friends onto this information. I sent them articles on it. They have read it. I sent them videos on it. They have read it, and they have also switched over to using organic tampons and organic pads. And the organic pads and tampons are disposable, which are not the best for the environment. but they are better for us in comparison to the other ones that are out there. And if you are someone that wants to do both, you want something that's healthier for you and for the environment, I do have some options for that as well, and I will share them with you guys right now and talk a little bit about each one from my experience. So one of my favorite and most accessible, I don't know what I just said, but accessible brands that I like to buy is called Natracare. These are the organic panty liners for thongs, but they also make all types of pads and tampons like these. They look and they work the exact same way as the bad brands, but the only difference is that they're made with safer materials and made more safely because of the way that the materials are grown and the way that they're produced. So this specific brand contains organic cotton, which means that the cotton that was grown does not contain any pesticides, any sprays, any chemicals that they were added into there, any synthetics, and this has no fragrance at all, which I prefer. I don't want any fragrances in my items because a lot of the times fragrances are hormone disruptors. We soak them in, we don't, you know, when you see the word fragrance on labeled in the ingredients, you don't really know what fragrance it is. You don't know where it's coming from. And also a lot of times companies will use the word fragrance to hide items into their products that shouldn't be in there. The packaging itself is recycled cardboard. It's plastic free, perfume free, and chlorine free. All important things to look for when you're selecting your menstrual products. And this is the most accessible to me because I can find it at my local natural market and Whole Foods, which is not that far from me either. I also shop for my products online. This way I don't have to buy them at the store. And I love Mercola, the Mercola brand tampons and pads. They have all sizes and everything on there. So if I'm ordering something from that site already, which I often do, then I will also order my tampons and pads that I need at the moment. And if you're the type of person that's often forgetting to restock on tampons and pads, then there's two brands that I suggest, which are online brands that you can set up a subscription. One of them is LOLA and the other one is CORA. They both use organic cotton, BPA free, perfume free, and all of that I just mentioned with the other brands. But what I do like about CORA is that I got this pouch type of thing that looks super elegant, which is great for me because I travel often and I love having something like this in my bag to carry my tampons so I'm never stuck, and it holds about 6 of them. These are the CORA tampons and it looks cute and it keeps everything neat, you know. Now getting into the reusable items, these are the ones that are eco-friendly because you're not producing any trash and you're not throwing anything out. Nothing is disposable. So it is safer for you and the environment. And if this is an option that you are willing to take, then hear me out. Starting off with the insert cups. This is the Diva Cup and this is the Moon Cup. They both come in 2 sizes. They're both BPA free. They're made out of a safe silicone and it's considered to be a tampon alternative. Now this is a great option because it's not disposable. You can always reuse it. It's really easy to dispose, dump out the blood. I'll show you guys what each one looks like. So this is the Diva Cup and this is the Moon Cup. This one is bigger because I got the wrong size on this one. So pay attention to the size. There's 2 sizes. One for women who have never had vaginal birth and one for women who have had vaginal birth. I have actually never had vaginal birth, although I have a child, and I actually had a C-section, but that's a whole nother thing. So with the Moon Cup, I ended up getting the wrong size. I got one that said for women who have had birth, and I didn't realize what that meant. And I didn't even look for that, so this one does not feel so comfortable with me. The Diva Cup one I do like more because it feels more comfortable and it feels a little more flexible. And I barely even feel it inside. But my only problem with this is that I've just started using this like 3 months ago, so I have not yet gotten to that comfortable place where I can insert it comfortably and insert it properly each time. I think there was only like one time that I put it in and it was perfect and nothing leaked out. But other times it does leak out. But I've seen videos of other girls who talk about this, who have entire videos on only the Diva Cup and how well they do with it. And you can have it in for, I think, 12 hours. And then you take it out, dump it out into the toilet and wash it. And then you can reinsert it right after. That is what's so great about the Diva Cup. It doesn't absorb anything. It's really easy to clean. It doesn't stain. But if you don't insert it properly, you will have that issue that I have where it doesn't go in perfectly each time. And you need to kind of, I just have not figured it out yet. That's basically the gist of it. But I'm waiting for my next period to then try it out and insert it in different ways, because what you're supposed to do is bend it like this and then fold it. I believe this is one of the ways that women do it, and then you put it inside. And I do that, but I don't remember if this way is the way that goes towards the front or this way goes towards the front. I'm not sure, and I need to pay attention to that, so this way I know which way is supposed to go in so that it doesn't leak. And because of this issue, I've never worn this outside yet until I master the art of inserting this inside of me. Another option is reusable pads. Now, this is something I do like, and I know it could be a little controversial for some of you who are not used to any of this or anything that you're not aware of or understand. If this is all new to you, this may seem crazy to you. And there's people who I've seen in other girls' videos who write like crazy comments because people are usually against what they don't understand. So if you don't understand it first, you may see it as not an option for you. But then when you understand it and you're already on this route, looking into alternative things, looking into safer things, then you'll have no problem with it. If you would have shown me something like this 6 years ago, I would have been like, ew. But today, this is not crazy to me. My mom actually used to use this back in the day in Dominican Republic. Not these exact same ones, obviously, but people used to make their own back in those days, like in the early 80s and 70s. I guess they didn't have all these options as we have today. I saved this box. I have tons of these because I absolutely love these when I'm home. I know that there's girls out there that wear them outside and that are comfortable wearing them outside. I am not comfortable wearing them outside because they're pretty bulky and they're more of a home thing for me. Like when I'm home in my environment and I'm comfortable and I have a bathroom at access at all times. So this is what they look like. They kind of look a little bit like baby diapers. So they work just like other pads. They open with a flap like this, and then they come with several of these. I think 3 of these and 3 of these, but I'm only showing you one that's unused so that you see what it looks like. So it has an opening right here where you would take these cotton pads and insert it inside, and then you snap it behind your underwear like you would, you know, stick on the wing of a disposable one, and then this is the part that would go on your vaginal area and catch all the blood on your underwear. So being that these are reusable, you do have to wash them after each use. So this is why if you do take this route, you would need several of them. So these you can wash by hand or machine wash or both. I do both. I wash them by hand and I also wash them in my machine. So I personally love these. There's no inserting anything inside of you if you're not comfortable with that. And if you want to use something reusable, this is a great option. But like I said, this is something that I rather use indoors. I don't like to use these outdoors because I don't feel so safe and secure with using these outdoors and comfortable. But I still love the idea that I'm using something that's environmentally friendly and in combination with still using the stuff that I am already comfortable with, which is the disposable ones. And to end this video, I have some tips on preventing and how I treat my cramps without using any like painkillers or unnatural stuff. Now, first off, let me say that when I was a teenager in high school, I used to get the worst cramps ever, to the point where I would be crying in bed sometimes, a lot of the times. And I also had specially prescribed medication from the hospital because my cramps were that bad. Today, I understand that that is actually an indication that something is imbalanced inside of me. I do think it's okay to get cramps. I'm not saying that it's unnatural to get cramps. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that when cramps are that severe, there is something going on that's causing that severity. And in my case, that could have been several things because I was a super unhealthy kid. What I've learned today is to avoid chocolate. And I know chocolate is something that is widely known that people just say that, oh, I want to eat chocolate because I'm on my period, but actually I've learned that actually makes it worse. My husband sent me an article on chocolate and the correlation on how it actually sparks more cramps. Because I have experienced this myself and I am a huge chocolate lover, I've been eating chocolate during my period for so many years and it never took away my cramps. All it did was gave me a temporary pleasure of eating chocolate because I love chocolate so much. So I think that mentally we give ourselves the excuse to eat the chocolate because we think that it tastes so good, so it's giving us a temporary high, you know what I mean? But it's not necessarily taking away the pain. So during my period, I do avoid caffeine and I do avoid chocolate because of that reason. I love drinking this Pms tea that is made with cinnamon. That helps me a lot because warm items does break down something in your belly and it makes you just feel really cozy, and it does relieve a lot of that pain when I do get pain. I should also say that today I don't get cramps often. When I do, it's very slight. I'm still able to move on with my day. I'm still able to function normally while dealing with a little bit of pain, but it's not severe at all. Part of that reason is because I don't rely on painkillers. What does relieve my pain when I'm getting cramps, and I try to do this before getting my period for the pH balance, and that is drinking some apple cider vinegar. Simple as that. Some people like using molasses as well, drinking molasses. I have never actually tried that because the apple cider vinegar works for me, so I haven't ventured off to that yet. And the apple cider vinegar cocktail is really easy and simple to make. I actually make it the way that my son tends to like it. We actually call it the Baby Manny Special. And all I use is about an ounce of apple cider vinegar in a 8-ounce mason jar. You can use an ounce or less of the apple cider vinegar to your tolerance. It depends on what you're used to and how you like it. I like mine a little strong. I could even go up to 2 ounces. And I fill up the rest with water, give it a little stir, and I add some drops of stevia and cinnamon. And then I close the jar, shake it up, and I got myself a simple cocktail that I can just sip on like tea. And this is not something that's going to instantly work like a pill. No, it's going to just balance your body, balance your pH, and relieve some of that tension and cramps in your belly. In about 2 hours, I'll notice that the pain, a lot of the pain has gone down or not there at all. And I think it's worth a shot instead of relying on painkillers. And that is it for this menstrual talk. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're interested in more of these types of talks, please check out my previous video, which is on feminine hygiene. And depending on the response in this video, then I will probably do an entire video only on PMS. Feel free to comment down below on anything you guys found here, and please check out the description box below where I will place tons of links, everything that I mentioned here, and also a few articles that you guys can read up on where I've gotten my source of information from. Bye, sunshines.